Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This week we're going to talk about the top things you should consider buying for your cruise, all under $10. However, before we get into all that, I must ask, if you like this video, if you find it at all helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. So let's get into my top lists. So the first thing that you want to consider buying is a selfie stick. This will run you probably about $5, usually at a place like Five Below. And this will be so helpful because when you're trying to get pictures of everybody in front of the ship, this will act as an extra hand to make that picture just picture perfect. If you notice in some of my videos, that I've actually used that as a tool to help me get the best angle. And I absolutely love mine. You can actually get ones that have this thing where you can actually turn it out a little bit. So that's awesome. So next we have extra batteries. Now I know that this seems kind of basic. However, there have been a time or 20 when, I'll be honest, I've completely forgotten my camera batteries, and by having the extra pair, it just saves me so much anxiety, even if I don't use it. And along the same track, you want to bring an extra phone charger for your tablets, your phones, everything like that, because you never know what can happen. Now, you'll have to check with your cruise lines to see what type of chargers they'll accept on their ships, but most will usually accept the regular USB chargers. And you can get those for under $5. I've even seen some at the dollar store, so they're fairly easy to get. The next thing that you want to consider is, in the days of COVID, a thing of hand sanitizer. Now, I know the ships are usually pretty clean with all of their procedures and everything like that. However, you can't ever be too careful in this day and age. And honestly, it doesn't really cost that much. I've gotten mine at the dollar store. I love them. So the next thing you want to consider is your toiletries. Now, I say this within reason because we're not including the medications in here. We're just including things like toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that, maybe even hairbrushes or hair ties. So I'll pretty much leave that up to you. However, I always make sure that I bring extra just in case. And again, you can usually find this at Dollar Tree or your favorite drugstore, and they're usually fairly easy to get. So the next thing you want to consider is, in the days of COVID, your masks. Now, I know that some cruise lines have gone maskless, meaning you don't have to wear your mask all the time. However, even if your cruise line is maskless, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't bring masks just in case, because you will still have to abide by the local authorities should you visit a place that still requires that. So just to be on the safe side, you might want to consider purchasing a couple. Again, your local dollar store will have some, your pharmacies will have some. So the next thing that you want to consider, if you're like me and you're terrified of losing things, would be your lanyards. Now, why do I say lanyards? It's because a lot of people use these to keep track of their SeaPass cards. I personally do not. I usually have my keys around mine when I'm at home, but it's whatever floats your boat. If it makes you feel safer, go ahead and do it. And you also want to make sure that you bring extra sunglasses. Now, I'll tell you a funny story about this one. So, about 20 years ago, my family and I were going on a cruise to St. Thomas. Now, my dad is 6'5", and we were told when we were going to one of the beaches at which we would be marooned, was that the water was about 6 feet deep. Now, my dad is 6'5", so he figured, okay, I'll just walk right off the boat and we'll be totally fine. Yes, that water was 8 feet deep. Needless to say, somewhere in the bottom of the ocean, a fish is wearing the sunglasses my dad was wearing and eventually lost because he sunk right to the bottom. So the next thing you want to consider bringing is activity books for your children. Sometimes in some of the weights, I know Sophie will be able to back me up on this, it can get pretty boring, especially when you're a young kid like she is, where the kids will get really, really bored with this. So you might want to consider taking that anyway, and then also get some books for yourself. Now you can get these at CVS, you can get them at Dollar Tree, pretty much anywhere. And they're usually not that expensive. Keeps the kids occupied for a little bit. It keeps you a little less stressed, and it's easier to pass the time. So I highly recommend it. I always make sure that I actually, for myself, bring a few extra books just in case. My dad is an avid reader, so he brings like 3 or 4 extra, which is totally fine. You also want to make sure that you bring extra snacks, especially on the days where you're going to be embarking and debarking, because again, those waits can be super, super long and your kids can get super, super hungry. So if you don't time it just right and you don't get to the buffet in time, then you're going to have some pretty hungry kids, and you're probably going to be hungry yourself. We usually get some Dunkin' Donuts on the way down, but whatever floats your boat. And that's about all I have for this week. So I hope to see you soon, and bon voyage. Now, I will say before we go, I do have one more thing to add. So some of you know my niece Sophia will be joining us for some of these adventures. Well, next week is the week we've all been waiting for. Sophie is going to make her debut right on this channel, so let's give her a warm welcome. And she can't wait to meet you. Hope to see you soon. So we hope to see you soon. Bye.